hello everybody. We are back with Shovel Knight Showdown. I am Leave, and I will be your host for this. Joining me are TempestMask1000, not Mark, Mask, KW underscore, and Alex Ashpool for the runners and co-commentators. Just one more call on the fighting the Battletoads. If we need a lot of money to be able to get that, but if we could get there, just be sure to go in and punch in a donate. Or if you want to look a little bit further ahead, we do have the weapons going on right now for Monster Hunter World, just letting them know which equipment they're going to be going with. We did get a donation while we were setting up for the Lance, and that currently has a lead by $2 if anybody wants to oppose that. That all said and done, I will leave it to you, Tempest.
Hi everybody, my name is TempestMask1000, and no worries, Malieve, about the Tempest mark, biz. That's not the first time that's happened, I will fully admit that. But it's nice to be here at Slurpathon. For those who don't know me, I was helping behind the scenes back on Slurpathon 7 Remake, which was a wonderful event, and I'd say we're off to a great start with Slurpathon 8. And just for a little something, just in case we don't get to do the Battletoads post-run incentive, I did want to at least show off the file that I created here with Slurpee as the name and on slot number 8. Just a little something to show that I wanted to do a thing. So I wanted to be consistent about it. But we're not here to do the main game. We're here to do Showdown. This is Shovel Knight Showdown, a Super Smash Bros. Inspired mode or game that was added to the treasure trove, but is also available as a standalone if you want to get it as such. It does have some speedrun categories because there is a story mode, and there's also a targets mode, but that's a bit of an interesting case in that that's more of a showdown-worthy sort of thing. So, we'll not worry about that, and we'll just delve into the story right away. But as Malieve said, yes, we do have the post-run Battletoads fight incentive, and we'll close that once I reach time on this run, so there is still time to go for it. Of course, any money given to Extra Life is good enough for me regardless, so do whatever you feel is right in your heart, and let's just have a good time, shall we? We're gonna go into the character select, but right now I do need a result on the bid war.
The result on the bid war would be Baz.
Zubaz! Let's go. Alright.
Such a cool character.
He really is. Big shout out to the Super Best Friends Play for putting him in this one. And we did do an earlier shout out to Matt McMuscles during Ultra Kill. So, comes full circle right there. Anyway, Alex, KW, you there?
Sure am. Yep.
These will be my two commentators. They'll be joining me as my little motley crew here of Shovel Knight community friendos. Alex was with me the last time I did a run of this game. KW is joining me for the first time. Would you like to give a quick introduction to yourselves, though?
Sure. So I'm Alex Ashpool. Like you said, I run Shovel Knight Showdown as well, and I'm looking forward to this.
I'm KW. I speedrun a couple of the category extensions and base Shovel Knight for fun.
Category extensions are always valid. Alright, let's see here. I'm gonna flip through some colors. Blue. Okay, that works. I mean, we are playing Blue Man's game, so... Alright, let's begin. We'll start the timer when I've selected my difficulty, so we'll begin in... And we're doing medium difficulty, so let's hope for a good one. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you. Alright, we'll skip a couple of cutscenes, and we'll jump into the first match, and I'll have Alex explain some of the basics of this game.
Sure. So Shovel Knight Showdown is sort of a Smash Brothers inspired kind of game. It takes the Shovel Knight characters and puts them into these battles. And there's two main types of battles. There is the Treasure Clash, which is what we're doing right now, and there's also a mode called Showdown, where you're just trying to deplete the other person's lives. And so for this, you can see the goal up at the top. It's 6 gems, and you need to collect the gems or have the most before the time runs out.
So the first thing I want to explain about this game is that, as you saw, there is a total of 20 different characters, and each of them have a different moveset. Another thing that's present, though, is that each of them have a varying storyline of sorts, which is sort of reflected within the 9 to 10 stages that you play throughout. This is always static, though, as every character does a Treasure Clash in the Morningstar Arena or Coliseum, and sometimes there is a spike ball spinning around, sometimes there isn't. But the all-in-all biz here is that with Treasure Clash, I do want to get those gems as fast as I can, and yeah, that right there just happened. Now, as you saw, the final spawn for the gem, the last gem that could have ended the game, is always intentionally slow. One thing I tend to do to circumvent that is I let the opponent get one, and then I'll steal it from them, because as you saw with me earlier, when the Liquid Samurai took me down, I did have to lose one of my gems and then recollect it there by getting it from him. So there are a few strategies here and there. There's nothing too exact about this game, though. It's all about adaptation. It's all about trying to know what to do, more or less. But yeah. So now we're on...
It's a fun run. It's a lot of RNG, though.
Yeah, it is definitely fun, RNG aside. KW, we're in Showdown. Could you talk about this mode, if you could, please?
Yeah. So Showdown, it's basically stock match and Smash Brothers. The player and the enemies have four hit points, and once those get knocked out, they go down a stock. And then they respawn after a little bit, and you can continue attacking.
Yeah, pretty much. One thing that we might not see, though, is that, like Super Smash Bros., it is possible to steal a stock when you're on a team, so sometimes that's what the CPUs do with each other. That was pretty good, though. It was a little dragged out at first, but the finish was pretty nice, considering that the random water within Mr. Hat's shop right there is a death pit. And speaking of Mr. Hat... You were saying, though, Alex?
Yeah, one of the things that you generally want to see in this run is you want to get as many showdown matches as you can, and hopefully on a stage with pits or lava, because that way you can hopefully knock them into it really quickly.
So we've come into stage 3, and this is the first of a few that are specific to the character's story. So in Baz's case, we meet Mr. Hat, who is another one of the backer donated characters for the Kickstarter. Mr. Hat apparently gifted suited Baz with the armor and gear that he's carrying on him right now, but he kind of left the store without paying. So Mr. Hat kind of wants to have him repay those expenses in full, if you will. Unfortunately, because of the map that we've been placed in, which is, I believe, the plains, but it's like a particularly short area, this is a very different kind of treasure clash. I am one away from winning, though, so we'll see how it goes, but Alex, could you explain the details on this one?
So with this one in particular, the one thing to notice for sure is that there's these containers around the gems instead of having them fall freely, and they take 3 hits to crack, so you actually end up taking a longer time to collect the gems, so we don't really like to see them.
And fortunately for Baz, it's just kind of a necessary evil, if you will. But here we have Polar Night stage. Now, KW, question. Do you need to complete this game in order to submit a valid run?
I want to say no.
That is correct. You can indeed make a run with only a select amount of characters unlocked or stages, and you can then submit it to the leaderboards just fine. It's practically one of the most customizable runs I've gotten to know, really. And for that, you can kind of limit the amount of chaos that could potentially happen on screen or at any given point. So, admittedly, I could have made this a little easier for myself if I went with lesser completed save. And yet I personally think that there's a bit more to showing off this game when you have a lot more of the content unlocked, if you will.
Theoretically, it might be faster to play with what comes unlocked by default and maybe strategically unlocking a character and a stage or two, but I know I've shoved them all into a spreadsheet and I've started trying to figure that out, but there's a lot of stuff to consider.
Yeah, you can say that again. Now, unfortunately, I did lose there because I totally forgot how many stocks I had left, so that's just how it is, but I'm gonna just try and focus a little. I'll give the floor to Malieve, though, if they would like to say anything, so go right ahead.
Of course. I can let people know that if you're interested in setting something up much like Slurpathon, getting involved is as easy as signing up online at extralife.org, asking your friends and family to donate, and pledging to play games in support of the Children's Miracle Network hospitals of your choice. You can play from the comfort of your home, playing any game you want. Doesn't even have to be a game as in a video game. Like, I've heard that there was one charity marathon where people just played basketball out on the streets and managed to raise a little bit of money for Extra Life.
That is incredible.
I have to agree, that is pretty awesome. So, unfortunately, this is one of the more chaotic modes of the game. It's called Birder Paradise, and on the screen are a bunch of birders, or as the community likes to call them, Steves, which is always one of my favorite jokes to tell because my name just so happens to be Steve, so I am a living, breathing Steve. Unfortunately, with 4 people, though, this kind of gets bad because depending on who collects all these different eggs, all these Steves are just crowding the screen. It gets pretty bad really quick, potentially speaking.
You can also notice, too, that he's trying to... there is actually a parry in this game, and he actually used it to knock Shield Knight into the lava. If you parry right before someone attacks, it doesn't deal any damage, but it does do some knockback, and you can actually knock people down pits relatively easily with it.
She's been really aggressive, though. Unfortunately, I had to lose there again. Now, there is one danger to running Shovel Knight Showdown, and this is the only game mode of Shovel Knight, period, where you can game over. This is normal. That might sound a bit weird, considering that everyone knows normally in Shovel Knight's main lineup, you have all these checkpoints, and all that really happens is when you die, you lose treasure, and that's probably one of the most forgiving things about Shovel Knight. But because this is a classic-inspired Super Smash Bros. Based mode, of course they had to throw in a little bit of an understandable difficulty wrench. And that's also one of the differences between the difficulties, too. You only get 5 continues in medium, but really it totals into 6 because even at 0 continues, you still have 1 last attempt. So it's not the worst thing, but like, I will admit this is probably the worst luck I've gotten in a medium story run period. Because this is never... Birder Paradise never got this bad.
There's about 12 different game modes, and some of them are really hard.
Yeah. You got some really bizarre ones coming up on the second to last stage, though. Oh man, this is not looking good at all. I'm already back to 1 stock. This could be rough. I'm going to try and play defensively. If Shield Knight would let me.
Being real aggressive there.
Yeah, she's kind of not too happy about the fact that this is probably the second time she's not appearing in a marathon run. This is, I mean, understandable considering this is like the only game that lets you really play as her, when you think about it. I mean, now that I wonder, why didn't she ever get like a DLC campaign of her own? That would have been awesome.
But we got King Knight.
That's true, we did get King Knight, and he's probably one of the most interesting of the bunch. I'm honestly sorry. Yeah, I'm really sorry this is happening, everybody. Like, this is the cards were not with me tonight.
Showdown can get away from you pretty easily. This is kind of par for the course.
Hopefully it should be pretty fine for the rest of the way here, but I'm going to develop a new strategy, and this already seems to be working. I just really need to keep my parry in mind. The birders, though, they still really, really do get in the way. One thing you may or may not have noticed, by the way, is that I can't collect any gems when I'm in iframes. So whenever people damage me, they're effectively taking away my ability to collect treasure. it's probably one of the more annoying things, admittedly, about the game. So, you know. Conversely, you can't collect gems when you're parrying because that counts as a sort of iframe-esque state of being. Let's see if we can at least make some magic happen here. Could be rough, though. Again, it's just, this is, the problem here is the birders. And, you know, that's, I mean, 20 minutes is still a pretty good enough estimate for something like this, but of all the things to happen, this was the least there.
You own a lot of the birds right now. I think you'll be okay.
Just as long as I don't take too much damage from the opponents.
King Knight just fell right into the pit.
Problem is, I just dropped a couple of gems. Tinker Knight could win this. Timing out wouldn't necessarily do me any good, but this could be good.
It especially doesn't help that they've got infinite lives, so it's like they can just continue to dip into the bottomless pit.
Exactly.
Round
Exactly.
over.
Like all I'm doing is just keeping them preoccupied, but okay, this could be it. Let's just pray.
Yes, and sometimes you get lucky where some of them have limited stocks and others don't, but lucky us, they all have unlimited here.
That was a very close one. Imagine just being being gate kept from like halfway through the darn thing.
Third try is the charm, though.
Oh yeah, you got that right. Okay, gents, let's talk about stage 5, shall we?
Percy's targets.
JW, what do I gotta do?
Okay, so in this stage, you gotta break targets. You gotta get a whole 25,000 points. Breaking all the targets in one chain gets you more points. They're those glowing ones there. They blow up all the targets currently on screen. You don't want to hit the bombs. Those are never any good.
Bombs will turn into points if I let them go off the screen, but if they're connected to hay bales, I need to bust the hay bales first, and then they'll automatically get converted. The Percy target right there is especially good because once I destroy it, it gives me a lot more time. Well, that one almost that tongue-tied here. That one almost left me though. And Alex,
Whip is really good for this.
oh, it really is, and the elbow drop too. But Alex, despite this being a break the targets inspired spiel, what's the problem here that could potentially happen if I'm not too careful?
Well, the biggest problem is that you can actually die here. There's pits, and those slime-covered bales will actually knock you back when you hit them, so you can actually lose lives and potentially game over on the target match.
Right. Oh no! Why did it have to be this one? Winner takes all is a treasure match where if you die, you drop every single gem that you've collected up until this point. So I can only die a few times, but even then, if I die once, all of my spoils go to somebody else. The worst part is that this is Treasure Knight's stage. All gems drop from those chests, but so do coins. This is problematic because they can damage you. They are stage hazards.
Yeah, this stage can go very quickly, or...
Another thing, though, that I gotta really be wary of is that they can drop apples, so it is possible to heal me. Oh boy, this is so wacky. Also, the clock item right there is, oh boy. So as you saw right there, it not only slowed time, but it also got rid of the user interface. So if that's happening, it's easy to lose track of what's going on in the match. Let's see if I can at least force Treasure Knight to drop his treasure. Irony. Oh, but Black Knight's the leader now. Oh, that's not good.
He only has one hit though.
There we go. But then I died.
Oh boy, this is intense.
I thought Plague Knight was gonna win there with one gem.
Welcome to Shovel Knight Showdown, everybody.
No kidding.
Okay, so now we're in stage 7. This is usually a treasure clash within a team match, so everybody except for one person has limited stocks. So the Enchantress and Breeze are this time the victims of said stipulation. My boy Reese just can't get a break. Dude couldn't win the... Dude unfortunately didn't win the bid war. I would have been perfectly fine playing as him. Can't catch a break because actually the story generally takes place a little during the Spectre of Torment campaign. So Spectre Knight is going to encounter the Enchantress, and the Tower of Fate's denizens decide, well, he might not fare too well, so let's see if we can't trap the Enchantress by modifying the Mirror of Fate. And so, unfortunately, like with most things, it goes wrong. Everybody gets trapped in this alternate mirror world reality, and everyone has like a different little threading plot line, per se. So Baz, in this case, he just finds himself in here. He runs into Mr. Hat, and now he's trying to get away with shoplifting. At this point, oh well, yeah, speak of the devil, at this point, Reese is Dark Reese, so poor boy can't catch a break. So, Big Fighter Brawl, this one's an interesting one. KW, you've seen me do this one, right?
I believe I have once, yes.
So this match in particular is very interesting because as you just saw right there, I knocked out the giant Phantom Striker. But when he normally goes down, he, like, you saw right there that he actually was taking half health damage. The big fighter thing doesn't necessarily just change his size, but he's also got double the defense. And yet when he goes down easily by way of Pitfall, he's down, because he's only got one stock. Everybody else has one hit point and has a few stocks. The thing is that, since the CPU can steal life, that's how Phantom Striker came back, but otherwise, this match can go pretty easy. And this is probably the one time that I'd actually say I'm happy to see the Tower of Fate auto-scroller level.
Yeah, it helped a lot in this case. There's a few of these tour stages that kind of go around in a circle, and that one worked out pretty well.
Alright.
Mr. Hat's back.
He is indeed, because this is where we return to the story thread. So, assuming that you didn't have to face a character in Stage 3, you will be facing them here. So, if we were playing as Plague Knight, we would have teamed up with Mona, and then we would have had to face her. But, of course, that's not the case. We just have to fight Mr. Hat again. This is a showdown match, and, this isn't too bad, because this Tower of Fate map has those lava pits. This can make things a bit more easy to work with, but coming up there's also a soul little area manip that I'm going to be doing for an upcoming transition to our final fight, if one of you could explain it.
Sure. So once you defeat this part of it, this is actually the one part in the game where you need to walk off the screen to the right, and if you are closer when it ends, then you don't have to walk over there, so it saves a little bit of time. But recently, Steve discovered, by accident, I think, that, let's see if he can pull it off, but...
Yes!
There we go.
Yeah, so it seems like by using a movement move at that point in time, you can get off the screen basically instantly, which is a minor time save, probably, on what we've been doing before.
Like, I'm not even shocked that this is the case, but... the fact that I discovered it during practice is probably one of the most shocking things, because I think I can now say without a shadow of a doubt, this is the first speed tech I've ever discovered in my career as a speedrunner.
You're getting to see exclusive hot new tech right here in Slurpathon.
Of course, you gotta time it just right, because once the victory theme is over, your character's movement is locked, so I could have easily wasted time, but that's not all. Assuming that I was way too far to the right in the transition point, the game would have just had Baz walk all the way from the left and then just just see him walk the full 9 yards. Wouldn't have been all that fun.
Yeah, it's a real walk of shame.
That is a good thing to call it, actually. Holy heck.
And so now we're fighting the Mirror of Fate. It summons some additional fighters to face you, but they only have about 2 hits each. and you need to get 15 gems. It can also transform these gems into bombs, and it can try to steal them like that.
That was a pretty fair fight, all things considered. But unfortunately,
well.
Yep, but unfortunately, all pretty well things must come to an end. Ain't that right, Baz? You can also taunt in this game, by the way. All you need to do is just hold up or down. Each character gets 2 different ones. It's really fun.
And so now we have this Eldritch Horror mirror that he needs to take out, and once he depletes his hit points, that's going to be the run.
Yep, the time will be on the final hit. Now, at that first point, it wasn't moving at all because it was waiting for an entire stock core of its health to go down. It's kind of like the Enchantress's final phase. In fact, this boss actually takes quite a few cues from the final phase of the Enchantress. Admittedly, when I last ran this at Speedrun Ragnarok, I said that even the music was the same. That's actually not the case for Phase 1, but Phase 2, absolutely. And it's one of my favorite tracks of Shovel of Hope, period. And shout out to Jake Kaufman, by the way. Very, very awesome composer.
Yeah, the music in Showdown is really good. It's good in all the Shovel Knight, but...
Yeah, the music in the games are really good.
Looks like we're going a little overestimate, sadly, but hey, no problem. At least I was able to avoid the worst of scenarios, and let's get this one home. Just one more hit. Elbow drop time.
Good game.
Live split. Live split. Why won't you stop?
No, you're having the thing I did. It's fun.
Son of a gun.
49? No, that's not too bad.
I had that happen with my Celeste run.
I know. It's unfortunate. Oh, I know why. I know why. Oh, yeah, because I had a splits file open and it wasn't. I totally. I know what happened.
Yeah.
It was a splits file. Oh, I'm an idiot. Still, oh, that's that. Not to ask for any bad news or anything, but I'm assuming we did not meet the incentive.
We did not. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? Everybody else got their chance to show off their stuff. Nothing wrong with being the first casualty. But, for real, thank you all for having me nonetheless, and I'm sorry this got a bit chaotic.
That's fine. Thank you so much for being a part of all this. It was really fun to watch. You'll get another shot. Another run, another event.
One of these days, for sure. See, the thing is that I do plan on making it a category extension of its own, so that's why I wasn't able to do it as that instead, but, you know, Shovel Knight Showdown is still a great run overall. One of my personal favorites. When it goes really well, I'd even consider it a cooldown run, but yeah. Here's some in-game stats. Just like with the other Shovel Knight games, you can see how many deaths you had. This also shows you the KO count and how much IGT it took per stage. So it is possible to track your IGT because there it is right there. It's pretty cool stuff. This game is something you can find on any of the console or PC versions. Sadly, 3DS and PlayStation Vita are exempt because Yacht Club didn't think they'd be able to work that out. I personally think it would have been nice to have maybe local wireless connectivity for the 3DS at least, but yeah, Vita, that probably would have been really hard to do. All the same, though, it is a fun game to play, both for speed and with some friends, so feel free to jump into this one. If you want to join our Discord server where you can find all Shovel Knight games covered, and maybe hopefully soon Pocket Dungeon and Dig when those come out, we are called the Spade Brigade, and you can find our link on the Shovel Knight speedrun.com pages. We hope to see you there because we are always happy to have some new members. Alex, KW, any shoutouts you'd like to make?
Not that I can think of, no.
No, that was fun, but thanks for having me.
Always glad to have you, man. And KW, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for giving me this opportunity.
Alright, well, I will be doing this on a couple of more events in the near future, so it's not like you'll it's not like I'll stop doing this anytime soon, but if you want to follow me, my name's TempestMask1000 here, and I also got a YouTube. I try to post things there, not always the most active because editing is hard sometimes. Either way, that'll be it for me. We're going to move on straight away because I know we're quite behind, and unfortunately going a little overestimate did not help that. Still, y'all are great for coming together and raising this much money already on day one. So let's keep going for the kids. Extra Life is a wonderful cause. Slurpee, stay awesome, my dude. And by the way, if you're listening, Slurpee, I did make the potential incentive file green because that's why I asked you your favorite color. That's what Shovel Knight would have been for this color. All right, everybody, that's gonna do it for me. Have a wonderful day. Ciao, Michi.